Hey guys, welcome back. Coach Leah here, Money Wise Mom, and I'm your money coach. I help busy adults like you take control of their finances so that you can do more of what matters most. And today I'm going to share a personal story about my own Christmas shopping nightmare. It's not really a nightmare, but I'm going to share where I stand with all this. And I'm going to tell you something that I think will be helpful for you if you're trying to stay on track and it gets overwhelming. So I'm going to just share some truth in my life about this time of year. I have two tight muscles here because I've been at my computer shopping. I try to do some stuff online just to avoid, I think it's more efficient. So I try to get a lot of stuff online that I can get online. But we're going to talk about that today because part of this, the bigger picture here is I really am not wanting to project this idea that you have to live a frugal lifestyle your whole life. There is a season where being frugal is important to get yourself out of debt, or when you're making a major shift. For instance, I shared that my husband and I intentionally made a decision that we were going to pull a lever. I was going to step out of my corporate career to build this business, this coaching business, because that is something that I'm called to do, passionate about. And so we are in a transition period and certain things are tighter for us for that reason. But what I want to share is this. We still prioritize giving. We love to give. We live on 90% of our income still, always have. And we love to prioritize giving in our budget. So early in the year, as soon as we have the income, some of it is with a little bit of tax refund. Can't always get it to break even. But we fund our birthdays and Christmas budgets. We set the money aside. We decide on the amounts at the beginning of the year, if it actually at the end of this year. We already are looking into the next year right now. We're in December. We're already looking at some January birthdays. But how do you stay on track with all this? When you're out shopping, it is so hard and it's so difficult to keep track of the spending real time. All of a sudden, an item's $5, $10 over what you think you were going to spend, but it is exactly what you think you want to get. And how do you pull those levers real time without all of a sudden turning around, the new year's upon us, and you find yourself maybe in debt? If you're still using credit cards, it's so easy to swipe the card. Nothing's telling you that you can't buy what you're going to buy. So I'm going to give you a really practical tip on how we stay on track during especially the highest concentrated gift giving season in our personal lives, which is now Christmas. We don't give out of obligation. We don't give because we're trying to meet others' expectations. We love giving gifts. We love celebrating this time of year, the birth of Jesus. This is one of our family's favorite times of year. And part of it is just the fun of gift giving and being generous. It's not to take away from the real reason behind this, but it's just a special time of year for us. So we do a lot of gift giving around this time of year for our family and closest friends. So the past 2 days, my little comment at the beginning was not that this is a nightmare, but I'm probably a pressure prompted procrastinator. So we're doing a lot of the shopping right now. I don't tend to do a lot of Christmas shopping throughout the year. Probably I should to avoid this. But what I experienced yesterday and the day before was long days at the computer. I almost found myself in decision fatigue because every gift that I had in mind, you look it up on Amazon or wherever, and there's so many options. If anything, that's part of the problem is there's so many options. So every decision, every gift comes with so many decisions around this sometimes. And even when I am passionate about sticking to the plan, not to be frugal, but because I know that it's the parameters that we set so that we can ensure with peace of mind that we're also hitting other goals in our lives. As soon as we have the flexibility to do more, we love increasing our gift giving budget. So one of the things that I was just sharing with my husband is I can't wait till we have more so that we can start giving more, because we love blessing, especially our boys. Like that's the first place we want to express our generosity, is the closest thing to us, the closest relationships to us are our two boys. So then it extends from there, then family, then close friends. It's not to go save the world and be necessarily philanthropic first, although that is part of our goal. We want to bless our tightest circle first. So with that said, here's one of the things that we do to stay on track. So with that said, I'm going to share with you one of our tips that we use in our household to stay on track during gift giving season, and how to split between Christmas and birthdays and things like that. So I'm going to whip out my handy dandy phone. That's my husband. Shout out to Ryan. He is the guy who supports all this. I am so blessed to have him in my life. So I'm going to pull up my app. And what I use is just Samsung Notes. So this is what you can do. And I'm just zooming out a little bit. When we do our budget right at the beginning of the year, that's a quick flash for the spreadsheet that we have on our computer. And it's got a list of birthdays and dates. And then below that it has a Christmas list, all the people that we give gifts to for Christmas. And it has dollar amounts next to it. So that is a screenshot. We have so much accessibility electronically, so much dynamic ability to drop stuff from our computer to our phone. So I take a screenshot and I save that into my notes app right at the top. Christmas list, birthday list. And then from there, it's a little extra work, but it's really only up front. I make that list in my phone. The notes app that I use, you can put a check mark next to each name, next to each item. So I literally put the name, and we have things in here. I'm just reading it. It's like adults, swaps, kids, birthdays. Nothing crazy, but it's a place where as ideas come up, we can put ideas for what we're going to get for these folks throughout the year. If I was smart, I'd do the shopping earlier than I do. But with that list, it makes it a lot easier to come and be mobile, if you will. So when I'm at the store, I can be like, all right, what's the budget for this person? Okay, cool. I'm more inclined to stick to that budget versus imagine trying to keep all this in your head. Too much. That's a long list. There's a lot of people we love. We don't go nuts, but there's people that we like to bless in our lives. And that is a great way that I found, even loving numbers, loving sticking to the plan, a spending plan, I like to call it, versus a budget. I find it still overwhelming to try to keep track of it all up here. So I need to get it out of my head and into something that's repeatable, sustainable, and flexible. So name, dollar amount, and then when I add a gift to it, I'll just pop it in there. Because sometimes you get 2 or 3 gifts and you're like, oh, how much did that add up to? You forget, you get like 50 extra gifts or something, that's an extreme number. But all of a sudden you find yourself doing a lot of excess. Then, oh, I'll return it. Maybe you won't. Sits there, passes the return period. All these things add up to, if you're swiping that again on credit cards, that is one of the things that can get you into trouble, especially around this time. And the importance of all this is discipline in the small things, because what we do with the little bit that we have is a reflection of what we will do when there's more of it. And I'm a big believer of thinking bigger, dreaming bigger, living more purposefully. So this channel is meant to help you create disciplines in the small things because it translates into the bigger things. Discipline begets discipline. If you know how to manage a gift giving list, you're going to also know how to manage, if say you're building a house someday and you need to stick to your budget, or say you're doing a home improvement project, you need to stick to your budget. The same concepts apply. What are the items that add up? What's your plan ahead of time? Don't wing it and just go with it, because I guarantee you're going to spend more if you go with that. So these are ways to apply disciplines in different areas of your life so that you can get used to making those decisions. And guess what? Part of this too is that I notice how many things I actually have to say no to, if you will, or not right now, or the trade-offs I'll make. I get more creative, and boundaries actually foster creativity. So when I have a boundary for the budget, I'm going to get a little scrappier with, hey, let me actually look for another version of that, or a cheaper price not necessarily compromising quality all the time, but like maybe I can get creative with how I'm shopping for these individuals to get something that they like, of value, and maybe more than one thing. If I just am swiping, not thinking about it, I'll either overspend or I will not be mindful of the types of things I'm buying, and you buy more, which is a version of overspending also. I'll either overspend on one ticket item or buy too much. So I hope that that's helpful. I hope that you're managing the stress of the holiday season. It's not meant to be stressful, but I think what happens is there's just so much that happens all at once. There's more social gatherings, life still happens, and finances creeps into everything. So here's a great example of if you and your spouse, or if you're not sure what your budget is, there's underlying anxiety, and then you find yourself shop therapy, just swiping. You know what? Send it. You just kind of give up on the plan and you find yourself in a little more trouble, and then the anxiety builds on itself, or you feel like it's a hole too big to get out of. It's not. You can always work your way out of it. Sometimes it'll take you a little longer, but these are practical ways. I love sharing practical tips, and I'm using my life as an example on how we're applying it in our own lives to help you take control of your finances so that you can guard and protect your income, put it towards the things that matter most, give permission to spend on the things that are more important to you. That's all this is. This is not restriction for the sake of restriction. This is positioning yourself to live a more purposeful life. Because when you say, I'm going to stick to this plan, it opens up opportunities to now have other options and decisions on the table that maybe you didn't have before. Maybe now in January, coming around the new year, you have more options to say, no, I don't need to work every single weekend, or any weekend for that matter. Those are great options if that means you get to be home with your family more. Think about that. That's what this is all about. Living more fulfilling life, living bigger, and living for more, living for the things that you're passionate about. I hope that helps, and please drop it in the comments. If you like this content and you want more of it, hit the subscribe button. It's a little logo in the corner of your screen there, and I'd love to have you join this community where we're doing this together. That's all for now. I hope you have a great week ahead, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.